in Jamia. One of my first students is here. He was in first year degree Rosio. He's finishing his PhD in JNU now. He was my student in Jamia. And then I know quite a few people here. I realized other than these personal connections, student-teacher relationships I have here, it's our politics that I think connects us large, which is very welcome and heartening to see, because when I taught in Jamia, this was 2003-2004. I used to come to JNU often, and you will know JNU's political history much better than me. It was an ISA, SFI dominated, even NSU I had quite a strong presence, and so did ABVP. But after such kind of a politics, to see the space which Babsa has carved for itself in JNU, it's really heartwarming for me and for many of us. So I congratulate you people on your organization, on your work, and I hope our strength will grow, in every sphere. I am not prepared for the talk, but I wrote down few things so that I'll not scattered, not give a scattered talk, but kind of stick to my script. But then I don't want to talk for long, maybe 15 to 20 minutes of talk, and it's not necessarily touching upon the imposition of Hindi. I mean, all of us, I am sure, are against it, and we know quite a lot. I don't know your name, but he spoke quite eloquently on constitutional and other kind of political discourse around language and language imposition. I'll largely touch upon how language, knowledge is kind of constructed, and how institutionalized language actually has consequences for us. And imposing Hindi is nothing but institutionalizing language in a certain way, right? Institutionalizing a dominant language in a dominant manner. So I'll kind of touch upon the dominant language discourse. But then I also thought, the recent challenges from UGC, both in terms of seat cuts, to giving interview boards in MPhil and PhD exams full free hand. You don't want to consider the entrance exam marks, but you pick your PhD MPhil students only from the interviews. This is I really feel there is a direct link between the growing Ambedkarite thought in university campuses, and then the not only thought but Ambedkarite movement across universities, and university administration, UGC and government not only want to curtail funding to higher education, which is very obvious, but more importantly what these governmental bodies want to do is to have a control over who is coming to the university and how they are coming to the university as well. So if you look at the recent policies of the UGCs, you can see the direct link. They want to have a say on how many people come into our MPhil programs, into our PhD programs, not only how many, but in what ways they come and who actually come. So, and it is here in this context, I think language also kind of plays a crucial role. The growing number of marginalized students in the university, students who come from marginalized section, is obviously, as we all know, is not only to challenge the politics of the country, dominant politics of the country, but I think, and it is a challenge to what we understand as knowledge itself, right? It's not only that our politics is countering their politics, but the way we understand knowledge, the way we construct an alternate discourse itself is kind of challenge to what is perceived to be knowledge in this country or anywhere else in the world for that matter. So what of course, knowledge is perceived as something, we know it's perceived as very high, it is perceived as quite very sacred, knowledge is quite elite, erudite, and knowledge is not something that consists of our day-to-day lives. Knowledge is something there, our day-to-day lives are something else. And it is through the entry of different sections of students that our day-to-day experiences and day-to-day lives have come to the fore of knowledge, have come to be understood as knowledge. And this is something that is not at all what do you call, not at all agreeable to dominant understandings of knowledge. This dominant understanding of knowledge, which obviously is controlled by few. Again, people who decide what kind of knowledge should be generously allowed, right? Until for a long time, whatever was considered knowledge was not allowed to a whole lot of us, from upper caste women to all, below the line of caste hierarchy. And in this so-called democratic liberal nation states, what is allowed as a universal ideal of literacy is also controlled through other manners, and one of this major way in which this knowledge is controlled is also through language, is what I argue. And it is here, I mean, there are two things. One thing he mentioned, how parliamentarians should speak in Hindi, or whoever knows to read and write Hindi should use Hindi in their parliamentary affairs. The other thing, I didn't hear if you mentioned or not, but making Hindi as a compulsory subject in all CBSE schools and NCR schools that use the NCRT syllabus, right? This, I think, this is more dangerous in fact than that of the parliamentary imposition. So changing, already all the KV and CBSE schools do follow a compulsory Hindi program. In fact, if you are aware, most KVs, Jawaharlal Vidyalayas, do not teach the regional language. I mean, regional language story is another, we'll come to that in the end, because not to say that Tamil or Kannada or Marathi is less dominant than Hindi, they are dominant in their own regional kind of a setup. So we'll come to that later, but then all these KVs and CBSE based schools do not actually teach the regional language, but insist on Hindi. And after last year, you also have Sanskrit compulsory. And if the child wants, which is a 4th standard, 5th standard child, they can learn an extra language, which is their regional language. And that's an optional, like we have an optional course at the MA or higher levels. So if you want to learn your own language, you do it as an optional, you do it as an extra burden. It's not necessary for Hindi speakers to go through that a burden of learning another language. But if we are so passionate about learning our own mother tongues, our own languages, we can do that, as an extra audit course. So that is what the CBSE rules right now says. And then last year there was also a German controversy. They removed German from the CBSE schools, but then German chancellor who was visiting India had a problem. She raised the issue with the government, and then now they have included German also as an extra optional course along with the regional language. So there is a whole lot of things. It's not just language and intimacy, my own tongue, my own emotion, passion, but whole lot of politics around this language issue, including that of the construction of knowledge and how trade relation between two countries basically works. So there's a whole lot of connections between these two things. So I'll start in the sense, I'll ask certain questions, and if in case you want to stop me in between and then clarify a certain point, please do that. You can stop me anytime you want when I'm reading this and talking. Is it only an issue of language when a certain language is imposed? I mean, is it only an issue of language in the sense, how does this language issue spill over other domains of our lives is what I mean to ask. Or is it only the question of language isolated from other spheres of our lives? Do we see language only as a domain of cultural identity? Right? It is this language reflects my culture, this language expresses my culture. He used, Venkaiah Naidu's, not Venkaiah Naidu, somebody else's expression. So if you want to, it will like, one language can use to express a composite culture. So is language a medium to express only our cultural kind of identity, or does it do something else? Do we see language as crucial to our lives and not just as the language we speak? not just as a means of communication. This is a very popular kind of a theory, right? The language is used as a means of communication, tool of communication. That is one school of thought. The other school of thought is language expresses our cultural identity. So within these two large spheres, understanding of language works. And or actually, do we understand language as something that constructs knowledge itself, right? It is through knowledge that whatever we know, it is through language, whatever we know as knowledge is constructed. Language is the building block of knowledge construction. And what language we use, and not only whether it is Hindi, even within Hindi, what kind of Hindi is used to build that knowledge or discourse around that knowledge also becomes central. Not only does it shape politics of knowledge, obviously it also shapes identities, much more going beyond cultural identities is what I have largely been saying. But these identities, even language-based identities, politics that are constructed via language are also not very equal. There's a whole lot of unequal identities that are created via language, through language. I'd like to just kind of trace a history on how social sciences, humanities have understood language for a long time. For a long time, our lives were understood as a binary between what is natural and what is known as